Today's episode of Still Untitled is brought to you by Eero. Whatever your Wi-Fi needs, Eero has a power to seamlessly blanket your home in fast, reliable Wi-Fi. Simply set it on a flat surface or plug it into a wall outlet to expand your coverage to any room. Not to mention, with the addition of a third 5 GHz radio, the second generation Eero is now tri-band and twice as fast as its predecessor, which lets customers do more in every room of their home simultaneously. And with the addition of a new thread radio, Eero can now connect to low-power devices such as locks, doorbells, and other sensors. Meanwhile, Eero Beacon is half the size, but it's even more powerful than the original Eero. Whichever model you choose, with Eero's incredible customer support, you can call and get a hold of a Wi-Fi expert within 30 seconds. I have Eero plugged in my living room, into my dining room, and in my bedroom so I can use my Nintendo Switch basically everywhere, the couch or even the bathroom. For free overnight shipping to US or Canada, visit Eero.com, select overnight as a shipping option, and use Untitled as the promo code at checkout.
Every Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
I'm slightly confused.
Well, I just thought that I should give a movie trailer intro because I have a little bit of a sore throat and a cold. And
Don LaFontaine, R.I.P.
Yeah, the only.
Wait, what?
Well, the guy who did the voice. He passed away several years ago.
In a world.
Yeah, and then there was
guy?
Yes.
Oh.
The In a World guy. And then there was also a movie written, directed, I want to say, by Lake Bell.
Lake Bell, written and directed by Lake Bell, co-starring Dan Marino from Party Down.
Okay.
And fantastic. In a World is a really funny, sweet, weird, awesome movie.
Oh, man, I assumed that the person who made that voice was like a Vocaloid that had been created by the movie studios out of like 300 people.
It's like the person who still does the Let's Get Ready to Rumble trademark, who gets paid $1 million to say it at every high-profile boxing match. There was one person who was the go-to person for trailers.
Guy. Wow.
And
today I learned.
Yeah. But Adam, you were a little sick.
Yes. So I just got back from the tour yesterday. The Brain Candy Live tour, 24 cities in 27 days.
Wow, that is a lot of cities.
We are tired.
Yeah, I can
My
imagine.
crew. I will tell you, this was the gold standard crew I have ever toured with. People, most of them have been with me on and off since 2012.
Wow.
So we know each other very well, and it was a delight. I had unbelievable ribs in Kansas City.
What was the last city? It was Ohio?
No. North Charleston, South Carolina.
Got it. Okay.
Beautiful
East Coast,
city.
Midwest.
Yeah. So the last two shows were in Charlotte and North Charleston.
Did you see some of that deep south snow that they never get, but they got a bunch of last
Just
week?
a tiny bit, yeah.
Oh, man.
Just a little bit.
That always, like, as a kid who grew up in the South, I was in the mountains, so we got snow, but like once I moved down in the valley, you get 6 inches of snow in Atlanta, and pretty much the world ends. I mean, there's no coming back from that. It's all over. Just
My
burn it down.
dad went to high school in the 30s and 40s in Texas, and he said at one point it snowed, and everyone lost their minds.
It's like when it snows here, except for there, it sometimes gets cold enough to actually stick.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We get 1 or 2 snowfleks.
Yeah,
everyone's a snowflake. Here.
Too
many snowflakes.
Yeah,
there was a moment here. I guess the boys might have been. Let me think about this. I think the boys might have been 6 or 7, and we're heading up Valencia. And so this is going to be just about 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah,
11 or 12 years ago. There was a snowstorm and some hail, and like there was actually some accumulation on the street. And we saw it, and we were wiping it off the thing. And I stopped the car, pulled over, and made the boys and Julia get out, and we all had a snowball fight. Oh, I was like, when are we ever going to have a snowball fight in San Francisco?
That was. If that's when I remember, it's when I lived in the Inner Sunset. I lived there for 1 year, so it would have been like 2006 in the wintertime, early January 2007. And it wasn't snowing at the park, but by the time I got 4 blocks up the hill to like Lawton and Funston, where I lived, there was snow. And it was sticking on cars. We did the same thing. Like, we scraped it off of the hoods of people's cars.
That's exactly the best
place.
place.
Made one snowball each and hucked them at each other, and then went inside and had some cocoa.
Just perfect.
Yeah.
San Francisco. We did meet and greets every night for 100 VIPs, people who paid extra for their tickets. And, whenever I toured with Jamie, it used to drive him nuts because he would always get sick, and I almost never got sick. I think I've gotten sick on tour twice, and this is the second time. And it didn't kick my ass literally until the last day of the tour.
Well, I mean, so we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think people were confused in the comments because there were a lot of questions, but about rules about cameras and stuff like that for the meet and greets. And a lot of like those rules are there's somebody there to take the picture with your phone so that there's no like fumbling with the phone and no selfies and stuff like that. But then there's also usually somebody standing there, when we've been there at least, with like some hand sanitizer so that you can shake hands and then immediately hand sanitize. It's not because you're like grossed out about
I don't
touching
do that
the public.
between everybody.
Right.
No,
right.
I do it at the very end. I go back to my dressing room and wash my hands.
Okay.
No touching of your face.
You try to shake hands with the right hand, touch your face with your left hand.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
it's an imperfect world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you notice that you mentioned the trend of a lot of DSLRs and point and shoots midway through the tour? Did that
continued
continue
all the way through.
Really?
It's really incredible. And people kept on saying, well, you said in your ticket announcement to bring a camera, but we've always said that. Like the announcement's been the same every single time.
Maybe people were looking for an excuse to get a big camera.
It's fascinating to me. I mean, obviously, not obviously. I will say the point and shoots outnumber the DSLRs 2 or 3 to 1. And it renewed my hatred of digital cameras, of dedicated digital
Like point and
photography
shoots.
equipment, because it's
the
like
the
hold
user
that button
experience
down, and then somebody turns a crank, and there's like a monkey that hits a hammer, and something happens eventually, and there's no feedback, and it's like we've had 170 years with cameras. Can't we just make this the same thing for everybody?
Look, the Nikon FT7 or whatever, the manual with the light meter.
Yeah.
Like film camera, manual exposure, manual focus. This is a pinnacle. That's a high watermark. Sorry, Norm. A lot of the people in chat in the comments thought that you when you said, "Hey, bring a camera," and no selfies. I think they thought that meant don't bring your cell phone, bring a real camera.
I heard that too, but we went and checked the way it was worded, and it's been the same the whole time.
Oh, that's funny.
I think it's a testament to how bad cell phone battery life has been, and so people they don't trust having cameras and their phones powered on.
Here's how
throughout
bad
the show.
cell phone battery life is. Every single meet and greet, somebody's phone is at 1%.
That's great. It's end of day,
Yeah.
right?
End of day, and this mostly affects the youth. So that most anybody under 16, their phone is set on the dimmest possible setting.
Huh.
That's what I do.
With all the
Yeah.
So my Gree, who is on my crew, is in charge of taking all the photos. She'd be like, I
can't see this one.
Some of these phones, it looks like it's just off until you look at it in a certain light.
Well, I mean, over the last when my kid was born, I bought a mirrorless camera, and I used it a ton the first year, and then she got faster. Like once she started running, then she was faster than the shitty autofocus and that camera could keep up with.
That's why I bought my first DSLR, because I couldn't deal, and especially also with the kids.
Well, but coincidentally, about that same time, the smartphone cameras started getting good enough to keep up with her.
Yeah.
You could do burst mode and stuff like that, and I just started taking, like, now she'll pose. She's 5 almost.
Yeah.
She'll pose, so I started taking the mirrorless back out and going places. And it's still amazing how much, like, that camera is worse at a lot of things like low light and things like that at this point than my phone camera is. But the pictures, when they're in focus and when they're good, are still way better than what I'm getting, even with more megapixels and whatever, out of this much smaller glass on the phone camera. Anyway, I totally get why you carry it.
I want to ask about your headphones, Adam.
If you want to ask, what about my headphones?
They're very
These are just
fashionable.
normal headphones.
Are you making a Quicksilver from Days of Future Past?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's the stereo belt.
Oh, that's the stereo belt.
Yeah, that was the pre-Sony Walkman first prototype of some type of cassette
It's
player.
the same kind of like weird pointy down headphones.
Yeah, so I bought these a few years ago. I own a Nagra. Excuse me. I own a Nagra SN micro reel-to-reel spy recorder. I bought it a bunch of years ago, and I pulled it out recently. And then I remembered, as I was looking through some of my audio equipment, that I had bought these headphones to go with it, because I thought these were vintage in the same smell and the same way. But they're actually fine headphones. The audio quality is absolutely exactly great.
They're lovely headphones.
Yeah, I know they're absolutely beautiful.
Well, I'm interested to see what comes next with the headphones, if they show up anyplace else.
They might. I don't know. I do. Before we continue any farther, something near and dear to our hearts I want to mention, which is that very soon the FCC will very likely vote to destroy our internet.
By repealing the Obama era.
The Title II delineation of it as a public utility.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm assuming, this is a terrible thing.
It's potentially really, really damaging and bad. Meaning what Title II basically says is that all services, the internet is an open pipe. It's open to all. So whether you're Facebook or my company or something that you guys just chuck up on the web for funsies, we all get the same priority when we're going through the pipe. And that the ISPs aren't allowed to charge the users more or the companies more for preferred access to end users.
And to be clear, they're already getting paid by both sides of the equation.
Yes,
they're getting paid by the companies hosting their servers, and they're getting paid by the customers using those pipes. Right. So they're just looking for more money in a country where we have some of the slowest broadband in the industrialized world.
Well, and more importantly than that, you could safely say that in a competitive environment, it would be okay if they repeal that, because then one of the providers in your area will say, look, we're the guys who aren't going to prioritize your pipe. You can do whatever you want. But since most of us in reality have, if we're lucky, one provider for actual high-speed internet, something faster than 100 megabits.
And we're in San Francisco. If you're rural, you maybe have one provider.
I literally just got a second provider that was faster, that was cable modem speed or faster in my neighborhood a month ago.
And if you think you hate your cable provider right now.
Well, right. So the upshot, the fear of repealing the Title II protections is it will end up with a cable TV type situation for the ISPs, where instead of just paying $80 a month or $100 a month or whatever you're paying to your ISP now, you pay $80 a month and then you upgrade to the YouTube package or the Netflix package or the Hulu package or the video game package.
And what that means is that your favorite website that puts up video is going to get screwed.
Yeah,
because if they're not on one of those programs.
So already we're in a situation where the big five company, I can't remember, there's a funny acronym that people use for them, but it's Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Facebook, or FANGs is what they call them, are controlling a terrifying amount of the internet now, right? In terms of advertising revenue, time spent online, stuff like that, between Facebook and Google and YouTube and all of these places. The fact that people buy most of their stuff from Amazon now is like, it's becoming problematic.
And this is obviously, there are a lot of long tail effects from this, but the to me the most important one is call your congressperson.
Yeah, what can you do?
Call your senator and let them know this issue matters to you, and which side of the equation that you fall. There are also numbers for the FCC.
Just use numbers. So the takeaway from this, from the activists I've read about, say don't use email.
Nope.
Don't use Twitter.
Nope.
I mean, you can, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
If you want to make a difference, call your local representative, your House member, your two senators. Call the chairman of the FCC's office. There's a voicemail box that you can leave a message in. You leave your name, your hometown, and zip code, and tell them how you feel about net neutrality.
And you could visit your Congress or senator's office.
Your local office.
Your local office. Those interns have to deal with you, and they're great people. And
you were one of those.
I was one of those. I was in the DC office, but I answered a lot of phone calls from people who were pissed off about NAFTA, I guess, in summer of '93 or '4.
Yeah, I remember protesting NAFTA.
Yeah, you were right. You were absolutely right to protest NAFTA. Everybody anyway, it doesn't matter.
So that's just what I want to say. Time is ticking, and it's important to call your local representative to let them know how you feel, and to call the FCC. Calling is the most effective way you can let your voice be heard. And this matters, and it trickles down to all of us.
And just to be clear, this is a bipartisan. There's
totally
massive bipartisan support for this issue everywhere, but in Washington.
And and just to also be clear, I'm not anti-competition. I'm pro-competition, but there isn't any within cable. And these guys are looking to. These are companies that have passed legislation in hundreds of districts that make it illegal for cities or municipalities to form or make or even research, or in Colorado discuss alternative broadband ideas beyond just buying it from one person.
And many of the things that they promised they wouldn't be doing, they did before Title II.
Yeah. So call your representatives, call your senators, call the FCC chair's office, And yeah, don't.
I just wanted to get that out there.
No, it's good.
There's no way to transition out of this, so let's just move on.
Norm, what's your segue?
Well,
Hey.
Speaking of Amazon owning everything, and we're buying a lot of stuff from many places.
Christmas is coming.
You guys do any holiday shopping?
Goose is getting fat.
I did some holiday shopping.
Yeah, the packages arrived while you were gone.
Yeah, no, there was a mountain over here. I
boy.
came and took care of them. I was showing Norm some of the things I bought, and many of them I bought two, so I could keep one.
It is the curse. You see something cool, and I'm like,
Look, when I see a Totoro lamp with a light-up umbrella, I'm going
That's
to
pretty
have
good.
to get two of those.
That is pretty good.
yeah. Yeah. What are some of your favorite gifts that you're planning on giving this holiday?
This year, more than any other year, I'm a little bit disgusted with the idea of just buying some piece of shit that someone's going to put on their desk, like a tchotchke. So I feel much more inclined to give something that's meaningful. And in the meaningful department for me, it's that we make something. And by we, my wife and I are planning to come in here in the next week and a half and make a bunch of presents for people. That is a real thing. And then also books. I love thinking about what someone likes and buying them a beautiful book about that thing or something that I think they're going to love. I recently bought, it's actually right over here. Hold on. Where is it? Wait a second. Oh, we're doing this in real time.
It's in real
Rifling
time.
through an incredible large pile of things over there.
Adam takes off his headphones.
Yes.
He grabs the book. He puts on his headphones. He
walks
returns.
back.
So I know that everyone was wondering, when is that new translation of the Odyssey coming out?
Is this the one by the woman?
This is
I'd
by
say the
Emily
woman.
Wilson,
Yes.
a new translation of the Odyssey, and I've been reading it, and I'm here to tell you. I have to stop saying I'm here to tell you. I don't know why.
Hey, Adam, what are you here to do?
It's just like this sort of dad programming that comes in as I turn 50. I'm here to tell you this is the best plum I've ever had, and it keeps me regular.
Is it an
Pull my
icebox
finger.
plum? Icebox plum? Can we talk about no.
My word.
Yeah.
So, Emily Wilson has retranslated the Odyssey, and it's a magnificent translation. It's really moving. It feels like you're reading something meant for the masses, and I mean that like in the best possible way. It's super accessible. The emotions are really there. It's incredible.
Dan Brown meets Homer.
No, not Dan. F Dan Brown. But I bought two of these. I bought one for myself, and I bought one thinking, after I read the reviews, I'm like, I'm going to really like this. Let me buy it so I can give it to someone. And I haven't figured out who I'm going to give it to. Oh, I guess.
Well, spoilers.
Who could I give it to that's listening to this? Now, well.
There was an excerpt posted someplace, and I was like, oh, I read this because I took ancient Greek in college because I was that kind of nerd, and it was you translate bits and pieces, and I flipped it open and I read it, and I was like, oh. Wow, this is a really completely different. And I got to the end. I was like, oh, the Emily Wilson, blah, 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 translated this. And this was, it's like, I could be wrong. I think this is one of the first major published translations of the Odyssey that was done by an actual woman.
Absolutely, yes.
As opposed to the litany of bullfinches and, all the other folks that have done Odyssey translations.
It is. So, and it's noteworthy for that and for being absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So yeah,
cool.
I've been doing. I picked up a whole bunch of stuff on tour that will get seeded out. Little lovely things. Some there's a lot of Studio Ghibli in my Christmas list.
Yeah.
That seems,
I love giving
seems apropos.
Ghibli stuff to other folks.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
I have a couple sets of the Lego set, the Women of NASA.
Yeah. Oh,
that's a good one.
That
hard to find.
Yep. So when
you're telling me there's women at NASA?
Not anymore.
Oh, right. Okay.
They took care of that. Thanks, Donnie.
So I'm giving that out and also doing some laser cut stuff as well.
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm the great toy hunter right now because I have a 5-year-old daughter. So.
Oh yeah.
What is when you have a 5-year-old and what is this year's Tickle Me Elmo?
So she was. I don't know that
Isn't
there
it those
is
little monkeys.
Those things were popular a little bit. Last year it was Hatchimals, which was those animals that come in an egg. And then it's on a base and it rotates and the beak pops in and out and it actually chisels the eggshell away.
Oh, it does.
It was an amazing toy.
Wow.
Utterly bereft of anything to do with it once it's come out of the egg. So it's fun for 45 minutes on Christmas morning and then it's like a really expensive Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
Wow. This year, so she had a fever the other day, and she was having nightmares. So I slept in there with her, as we're laying there talking at
It's
2
like
o'clock
snuggling
in the
with a
morning.
light bulb, isn't it?
Oh my God. She's like, Dad, you're so cool. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're like 104 degrees. It's time to go get an ice bag to put on your other side. Anyway, she said, Dad, I want this thing. It's a little thing that you can make muffins and cakes in, and I want to be able to make that with I was like, you want an oven? And she was like, no, not a big kid. And we went through the whole thing. She described exactly how an Easy Bake Oven works.
Wow.
Had no idea what it was called.
Well,
All
there
she
you
knew
go.
was that
Now
she'd
it's
seen it
time.
on like a Curious George episode or something. She's like,
Nice.
this sounds like an amazing toy. I can be self-sufficient. And I was like, this is a great, yeah. So
My wife remembers vividly her first Easy Bake Oven
yeah.
and the making of stuff, and then the realization that the stuff was more delicious if you just ate the batter.
well, I assume, I haven't looked yet, but I assume that there is a site someplace that is Easy Bake Oven hacks that actually
I'm
tells you how to
sure.
make good
I'm
stuff
totally
with the Easy Bake
sure.
Oven.
You
If
can
there's
do a
not,
bouillabaisse
someone
and a
should do it.
souffle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, the Easy Bake
Yeah.
souffles.
Easy sous vide. Yeah. All you need is your app.
You put a 120 watt light bulb instead of the 60 in there, and man, that thing cranks up to 500.
You're reminding me of an old Doonesbury joke. Tonight, the role of Jesus will be played by a 25. The role of baby Jesus will be played by a 25 watt light bulb.
This past
that's it for me.
weekend, to get into the Holy Spirit, we went to, and I want to give a recommendation to, the Dickens Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you have been to the
No,
Dickens
I have
Fair.
never been, but Thing 2 performed at the Dickens Fair many years ago.
So it's a tradition in San Francisco. I think it's been going on for 35 years.
Wow.
But it's exactly what you think it is. It's the same people who run like the Ren Fair. We don't have a Ren Fair, I think, in San Francisco because
Wasn't there used
we
to be
do.
one in Marin?
well, in like San Francisco proper, right?
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in the city, because we don't have any farmland and like we don't have a state
Yeah, like
state
Sharon
fair.
Meadows is not gonna
right?
do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we do have is the Cow Palace, and
So
it's
right, the
in
Dickens
Cow-
Fair at the Cow Palace. That's
it's-
right. It's really
It's
and
at
it's
the Cow Palace.
downstairs.
It's downstairs.
Yeah, it's in the weird
It's-
like
yeah.
low
In the
ceiling
catacombs?
downstairs.
Right, it's like this
where they
is
have
what-
the gun shows.
There used to be
basically.
underground parking. I went to computer shows there back in the day.
Yeah, and they turn I don't know how many square feet, but thousands of square feet get turned into Dickensian London, and it's full on. You can view it through whatever lens you want.
Legless orphans begging in their
Totally
own excrement.
right. You could be like, okay,
Awesome.
I'm here for the merriment. I'm here for like the cosplaying because there's plenty of that. I'm here for the Westworld like feel because there are actors, hundreds
Yeah,
of
yeah.
actors performing in character,
Yeah.
running around, or you can be there for the food. But
Did
it's,
you
it's a
guys
great
dress
time.
up?
We did not. We're recovering from
Disappointed.
Yeah. Well, next year.
Did you eat any kind of
We had
leg
pies.
of an animal?
No, Scottish pies.
Oh, okay.
That's what that was. the
Scottish
thing.
pies.
Scottish pies.
Okay. Is that? I assume that has some sort of blood or intestine in there.
Lamb. I think
Lamb,
is what it
okay.
is.
That
Yeah,
sounds
minced
okay.
lamb. But the Queen walks around.
Oh.
Queen of England.
Wow,
you
I
know,
thought she was busy right now.
Father Christmas walks around.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great time. I enjoyed it.
We did 2 festive things so far. We went to the San Francisco Municipal tree lighting, which I've never been to. It sounded horrible.
It does sound.
But they take over John F. Kennedy through Golden Gate Park, right where the Panhandle hits the
Yeah.
main part of the park, and they string up lights on one of the old Monterey cypresses right there on the at the bend.
Yeah, I know that.
And they bring in a bunch of carnival rides. They trucked in snow from Tahoe.
Really?
And yeah, like they made a sled run for the little kids.
Oh.
Like the
Wow.
like it seemed like I would guess it is the San Francisco Parks and Rec Department, which is an awesome Parks and Rec department. It seems like it may be one of their showcase events for the year because like they were all there. Everybody was really excited. Everything was free. I mean, I guess they charged for food, but there were food trucks and stuff. And they had like Ferris wheels and big giant fiberglass slides and trains, and it was a
Amazing.
great
That sounds
family
incredible.
activity. So
Wow.
highly recommended if you see it next year.
All right.
We'll be going next year again. It was
Well
fun.
done.
Family
and-
traditions are things.
And I exterior lighted the house for the first time in my life.
I'm curious about your thoughts on exterior lighting of a house because Willem, we were discussing this.
Yeah.
And there is a new trend. In house lighting, you know, you can go
go
full
full
Griswold,
programming, yeah.
right, full Griswold, full sounds and lights, and a lot of people, a lot of neighborhoods really
Yeah.
encourage that.
Yeah.
But now you see more. If you go to like your local big box store, not next to the incandescent lights, next to LED lights are projectors,
Laser projectors.
and also regular like
Just bright
I
projectors.
did not know
1080p
about this.
projectors.
Oh, you need to come
And-
to the suburbs more.
And people are just blasting 1080p like snowmen on the side of their house, on the front of their house, and sometimes at bad angles.
It's like your house has a tramp stamp.
And they're not it's not
That's the
mapped,
advertising.
Yeah.
right. It's not
This one has
spatially mapped,
dolphins.
so it doesn't
Right.
wrap around your house in a clever way. It's just
Right.
like here is a projector on the side of your house.
That's the next level.
Of
right?
course. Yeah, we want it. Matt,
Like I want to depth map the house.
I picture a meeting somewhere at the projector company. All right. It turns out that the projection sensors have gotten so inexpensive, we can start looking at other markets. What about letting people project Christmas shit on their houses? Good. Biggs, you win.
Well, so, okay, so was it you that told me about projecting them on the trees? Or is that somebody else? Okay.
No, people do it on the trees.
So what they are is they're like a laser projector with like a kaleidoscope prism or something in front of it that breaks it out into a big giant wide pattern, right? And you can set it to rotate or not. So either it's solid state rotating or there's a mechanical thing in the front. I haven't looked at them enough to know, but they look. I think they don't look great when you aim them right at your house.
It looks like your house is herpes.
Yeah, that was what I thought.
Before we continue with the podcast, I also want to thank the other sponsor of this week's episode, and that's Orbi. Wi-Fi is something you really don't think about until you don't have it or it's not working properly. Video's buffering, there's Wi-Fi dead zones, everyone's home for the holidays fighting for that precious, precious Wi-Fi. So when did you last upgrade your Wi-Fi at home? If you just want better Wi-Fi everywhere, check out an Orbi Wi-Fi system from Netgear. With Orbi, you can enjoy super strong, fast, and more reliable whole home Wi-Fi from your basement to your backyard. Change your Wi-Fi world. Get Orbi, that's ORBI, Wi-Fi system from Netgear by going to netgear.com/Orbi. All right, back to us.
Hey, speaking of herpes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can we talk about our favorite Christmas movies?
I wanted to talk about the herpes of crafting, glitter.
Oh, glitter. Yeah.
And how it's no longer, glitter is significantly contributing to fish eating plastic all over the planet. Just
Bonnie
like the
was
microbeads in your astringents.
Those are gone in astringents now.
They are.
Not in some parts of the country, unfortunately.
And not in some other parts
Alabama.
of the world where they haven't outlawed them. But glitter is also a significant contributor to the microplastics filling our environment.
What is your glitter alternative?
I don't have one.
use
I've
metal.
never been a huge fan of glitter. But
Also, say good riddance.
good riddance to me.
Okay.
So you
Good
can.
riddance as far as I'm concerned.
I have two glitter thoughts. One is that you can get metal glitter.
Never
in
put it
addition
in
to
your
plastic
lube.
Glitter.
That's one.
That's abrasive lube is not what you want. Two is that the all-time greatest Ask Me Anything I've ever read on Amazon on Reddit was, I think, a glitter company owner or CEO or president or something that just shared a bunch of stories about glitter
and things people did when it
and
was
things
bad.
people did to it that was bad. It was fabulous. Really, really good. Glitter nightmares along the lines of things that I've heard you and Bonnie talk about.
Glitter nightmares should be, I miss Cake Rex.
Yeah.
I miss Cake Rex so much. And Glitter Nightmares could be a very, very valid successor.
Yeah, it's a good time. Anyway, should we talk? We've reached the holiday movie watching
talk
season.
about holiday movies? Yeah.
Sure.
Like I watched Love Actually for the first time the other day,
The movie where everyone falls in love with their servant,
except Emma Thompson, who ends up crying at the end.
who ends up the most fully realized character is the most abused by the plot. Let's just make that all really. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the spit out
It's
of
a
Love Actually
lovely
when
movie.
I saw it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "That is really sweet," and I cried. And then I read some post about it years later that was like, "You realize it's all about people who fall in love with their servants," and I'm like, "I can't see anything but that."
Yeah. Well, and thanks, Adam. Now I'm like replaying the movie in my head, like shit, he's right.
You chose poorly.
The thing that I was surprised by. So there's this post the other day about Rowan Atkinson's bit in there where he's doing this long drawn out rapping job.
He's Mr. Bean.
He's not Mr. Bean in the movie.
No.
Yeah, he plays
yeah.
Mr. Bean in the movie.
Yeah.
He does this long drawn out bit when Alan Rickman is going to
right.
buy
Yes,
the
yes,
necklace
yes.
for his
Now I remember.
mistress
Right, yeah.
while his wife is in the department store with him.
Yeah.
And the bit basically said, look, Rowan Atkinson originally in the script was playing an angel. And he was trying to keep Alan Rickman from doing this bad thing that was going to result in him having an extramarital affair. And I was like, oh, that's context that makes that scene that never made sense to me before make a ton of sense.
Right.
But also would have completely ruined the movie if they made it really explicit and clear in
Yeah.
the telling of the film. So anyway, so I watched Love Actually for the first time. I was entertained.
That's your alternative Christmas movie of choice.
Die Hard is my alternative Christmas
I'm a
movie.
big
I don't
fan
think
of
it's all
Shane Black.
alternative.
All of Shane
Yes.
Black's Christmas
They're all
movies
Christmas
are all
movies.
fantastic.
Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang, Lethal Weapon.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah.
Long Kiss Goodnight. That's the Gina Davis
Yep.
Sam Jackson.
Die
movie,
Hard
right?
1
Yeah.
and 2.
Let's not talk about Die Hard 2, please.
Die Hard 2 is great. It's Die Hard 3 and every other subsequent one that sucks ass.
I like 3.
Die Hard
3
2
is
wonderful.
really good.
The one with Sam Jackson?
Yes.
Jeremy Irons.
Disagree.
What?
Disagree.
Hot times, summer in the
here's-
city.
No, here's my problem with Die Hard 3.
It's too good for you.
No. Is this
Too good
also
for this
this is one with
world.
Jeremy Irons, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not scary. I didn't find Jeremy Irons scary. All the clues were so, they enraged me so much because it was like, oh, that meant that this, and then that guy died on that day, and that's why you have to run 300 blocks to this other building. Like, none of it was stuff I could have followed under any circumstances. It was absolute fantasy camp in terms of solving the puzzle. Yeah, no, that movie lost me
The
from
whole
the
point of it was he wasn't supposed to be able to solve the puzzle.
Yeah, I know, but why make forget that movie.
Infuriating.
Okay. I am.
Well, let's all agree that maybe Gremlins. Great
I've
Disney.
never seen Gremlins, actually.
You should watch Gremlins instead of
Okay.
Love
Watch
Actually.
Gremlins.
Okay.
You should watch
Scrooge
Gremlins.
is pretty good.
I've never seen Scrooge.
Scrooge is a Bill Murray classic.
Bill Murray and
Bill Murray, I don't remember who else is in there.
I'm trying to think of that wonderful actress who played Andy Kaufman's wife on Taxi.
Oh, she looks like Cyndi Lauper, but she's not.
I'm a terrible
Edie
person
something?
for not
Edie-
remembering her name. Carol.
Okay.
Carol. Not
Carol
Carol
Kane.
Kane. Carol
Yeah.
Kane. Yes, Carol Kane. An amazing actress.
She
Wonderful.
plays the ghost of Christmas past or present, I think.
Yeah,
I can't
one of them.
remember.
Yeah.
And is just incredibly violent to Bill Murray. It's really good.
I've always loved everything she's ever done. She takes everything she does and
Off the wall
bends
and
it around
batty
a
and
pipe and beats you
delightful,
over
yeah.
the head with it.
That's a good one. Bad Santa is
Never
very
seen
dark,
Bad Santa.
but is enjoyable.
Is it really? Have you heard the radio interview about? Is it Bad Santa? No.
With Billy Bob Thornton.
No, it's
and
all
Lauren
I can think
Graham.
of with Billy Bob Thornton is that hilarious and amazing radio interview he did in Canada where he went
what
off
film?
the rails.
I
Oh, no,
didn't
no,
know
no.
that.
He was there with his band. He
course.
was there with his band, and he went on a radio show in Canada, and he apparently had said, and maybe this didn't get communicated to the host, that he did not want to talk about being an actor or making movies or anything to do with his stardom as a performer actor.
Except-
only wanted to talk about the music of the band.
Got it.
Oh.
And the
Wow.
reporter asked him a question about that,
Yeah.
and he just stopped cooperating with the interview.
Oh no.
Wow.
And it's like
that's
20
scary.
minutes of excruciating, amazing, intense, horrifying.
Wow.
That's the worst
It's
nightmare.
like if you book David Lynch, he will not talk about his films. He just wants to talk about transcendental meditation.
Yep.
Okay, I can see that.
You know, there are directors. Kubrick was a big believer that even the director that the film should be somewhat of a mystery even to the director. You know, that there are aspects of what he did that he did specifically because he wasn't sure why it belonged there, but he knew that it did. And I think Lynch is very similar.
feels right.
And yet you have no interest in watching The Room or The Disaster Artist.
I have no, yeah, I
Talking
really
about
don't.
the room with the worst movie
Tommy
ever
Wiseau,
made.
yes.
Tommy
Now,
Wiseau's
I
in
heard
there.
that
Yes.
I've heard someone was just telling me, maybe it was
Yeah,
Ryan
Ryan. Yeah.
Kaiser was
Yeah, yeah.
saying that the Disaster Artist is not just a compendium of the shittiest movie ever made, that there's actually some real heart to it.
I would say it's not even a good. It's not a compendium to The Room. Like people who are fans of how bad that film is as a cult film probably won't be satisfied by
Oh, okay.
Disaster Artist. But it's like a Bowfinger light. If you like Bowfinger.
Oh, Bowfinger's a good. Yeah.
Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never
Yes.
seen it.
Bad,
It's
okay.
it's a
Boogie Nights light. It's about the story of a filmmaker
Yeah.
and
Okay.
filmmaking
All right.
through this weird lens.
But so that makes me more interested in seeing the Disaster Artist. I still don't have any interest in seeing The Room.
The Room
No,
is one
you
of those
should.
things that
Yeah,
if you
it's
want
not gonna be a good use
like
of
you
your time.
shouldn't watch it at home unless you get a big giant group of people because you need like
Right,
it's like
you'll
going to
just
see
feel
Rocky
shitty about
Horror.
yourself at the end of it.
Yeah, like Rocky Horror should have never had a home release because
No.
like you shouldn't watch that in a room by yourself. It's just going to be sad.
Totally.
Hey, I will say, I mean, the point of the story is that it was someone, however bad the film is, he had a vision, and he did something that most people won't do.
Would have said was impossible.
Yes,
Sure.
is write and direct a film.
Made a $50,000 film for $6 million.
That's true. Also, yeah, yeah.
I was going to say I wanted people to suggest Christmas movies.
I would
holiday
love to
movies.
hear some Christmas movie suggestions. I bought a movie on Amazon that got delivered on DVD and Blu-ray yesterday that I've been wanting to see, and you can't stream it anywhere. For the longest time, Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away was the highest grossing film in Japan's history. It was usurped this year by an anime called Your Name.
Your Name. That's right,
and I have not seen it yet, and I have it queued up on my
on Blu-ray.
Super Drive on Blu-ray
nice.
to watch at home because I've heard it's absolutely
I
incredible.
may have to borrow that from you after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, Spirited Away is one of my favorite. And I don't have I said this before, but I am actually plotting a new Miyazaki cosplay for San Diego.
What a tease.
Yeah, it's a deep tease. 6 months you are gonna have to wait.
He did
Porco
tease. I said
Rosso.
it's the airplane. You're doing the Zero fighter jet from.
Oh, I thought he was
By the
playing
way-
from Grave of the Fireflies.
I also-
no. From,
after-
The Wind Rises.
After our conversation about our frustration with Apple, I got several tweets from people going, "I work for Apple. There's no way to solve your problem."
Yeah.
My favorite stealth Christmas movie, by the way, Batman Returns.
Oh wow!
All right. Good. Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
Returns is just a solid movie. In fact, I think it's better than than the first Batman film.
I think the performances are
the
definitely
villain is
better.
totally scary.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
both-
never scared by Nicholson's Joker, and Cobblepot was I found genuinely upsetting.
What a great makeup job.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible makeup job, and it's like it's the best use of the Warner Brothers backlot I think I've ever seen in that movie because
Yeah.
he does all these fight scenes. We talked about this last year, but like the high angle Dutch shots down on like Batman beating people up in the corners of snowy Gotham is so good.
Speaking of Cobblepot, that was one of the. Forgive me if I've already mentioned this, but the I saw lots of crazy different genres of famous people when I hosted Michael Giacchino's 50th birthday at the Royal Albert Hall. But maybe the strangest was coming into the after party and having Danny DeVito walk up and shake my hand and say, "Really good job."
Oh, that's awesome!
By all accounts, he's a super nice guy.
I know Danny just the littlest bit. I've met him a few times. We have mutual friends in common, and yes, by every account, one of the most delightful. He and Rhea are among the most delightful people.
He's
alive.
good in literally like his manic turns in Always Sunny are the funniest things that's been on TV in the last 15 years, I think.
You know, we've talked about this before, but it's like there are actors, you put them in your thing, they're just going to make your thing better. Karl Urban in Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a role that a lot of people could have just fulfilled, but he brings something more and lovely to it. He's a Scourge.
Oh, he's what's her name's
henchman.
Man, I thought that was Sean Bean.
No.
Corbin.
You're mistaking me. Sean Bean, Aaron Eckhart is another one.
Wow.
Yeah, Aaron Eckhart's great in everything.
Right, but always like generally a supporting player that makes the movie better by their calm presence. William Fichtner, another
Well,
one.
yeah, character actress.
Yep.
Yes.
Fichtner's amazing.
Yes.
Some
in Armageddon recently.
He was the bank guy in Batman, and
Yeah,
he
the
was
mob boss
also
bank.
the
Oh,
deaf guy in the deaf
Contact.
scientist in Contact.
William
Yes.
H. Macy is another one.
Bill Macy, totally. Completely. Yep.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman's always been that, like, but Gene Hackman, I think, is more in the John Cheadle. Like, he can open a movie, but he's also going to be an amazing supporting
If he
player.
plays a supporting role, you know it's going to be a banger.
Did we finish talking at all about Mindhunter, or did I just talk about watching the first?
I
I
haven't
don't
seen
think
it yet.
I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
No, there are a
We
couple
should talk
shows.
about it.
I'm actually holding off and watching a lot of great Netflix shows because I have a new TV coming, and so I feel like Fifth Element was on TV a couple days ago, and I'm like, I can't watch this right now because I have the 4K Blu-ray, and I'm gonna wait till my TV comes before I watch it again.
We started watching The Americans finally,
Yeah.
which I had not seen before,
Yeah.
and the first 3 episodes of that are unbelievable.
See, I thought the pilot left me really
Oh, it was-
uninvolved,
it was-
and then I thought I should watch the next two because I've judged a lot of shows on their pilot and have been wrong.
I thought the pilot was hard to watch
Okay.
in a lot of for a lot of reasons.
And I'm a huge Kerry Russell fan, and I
Yeah.
don't mean that in any kind of creepy way. I just think she's a
just love
terrific
Felicity.
actress.
Carrie
with an
Russell
incredible
as
voice.
Yeah.
a spy in the way that J.J. Abrams always wanted to see her as a spy. That's why he put her in Mission Impossible 3
Yeah.
as a spy in the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's I'm
We've
gonna see if they
been-
stick the landing.
my wife and I are both early Felicity fans. One of JJ's very first shows, and Damon Lindelof. And
So, sorry, Mindhunter.
Yeah.
You're watching. You
I
finished it?
finished Mindhunter.
Uh-huh.
It was a little disappointing, I'll admit.
Oh, see, if they don't stick the landing, then I'm not. The one
you
I'm
know,
waiting for is Godless to see if that sticks the landing.
I don't know about
That's
Godless.
the Western. It's about a town that's massacring the women take over and run the town. And
that sounds really cool. I
it
didn't
was,
realize that was what it was about. I've seen it on the Netflix originals.
And I listened to an interview with the director-writer of all the episodes, and that sold me on. The interview sold me on the show.
There's a trend I'm seeing happening, and it's concerning me. And it happened with both Mindhunter, and I watched all of the OA.
Oh, okay.
And it is that I got to the end of both of those seasons and thought, great actors, great filmmaking, beautiful production value. Everyone is killing it. And after 10 and 13 hours of television, I felt like I'd sat through about 5.5 to 6 hours of television.
That got stretched out.
It's a lot of.
You could say that about all the Marvel stuff that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Even Stranger Things.
Look, I found the whole episode of Hop yelling at 11 to be excruciating. And like you could have told me that in 5 minutes, and I would have had enough of it.
Have you watched The Runaways?
No, I heard that's good on Hulu. Yeah,
so the
comic
first
adaptation.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's terrific.
The first, again, we watched the first 3 episodes of that, and I haven't gotten. I think there's only 4 or 5 more. The first 3 episodes are astounding. Like it's riveting, and like there's so much character development in such a short period of time, and they handle it really gracefully. And you really, it's the same setup as Stranger Things. Something bad happened, and then a year later, here you are.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating.
Filler is tough.
Filler is totally tough.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta have.
No, you don't.
But, I mean, today you don't. It depends. A lot of these shows are written, though, I think, and they don't know where they're going to end up when they write them. So if you're writing something for a network and it needs 13 episodes, but then it gets bought by Netflix and they only need 8, then who knows what happens to it?
It could be. Look, there could be a lot of reasons for it. I felt like the OA was magnificent storytelling and really interesting science fiction, and when I got to the end I felt like I had lost a few hours, and I probably would watch it again because I found the acting so compelling.
And maybe it's maybe it's a distribution model, or maybe it's a production deal. It happens a lot more with serialized shows on Netflix, I feel like, than on an HBO, for example. HBO, I feel like, because of the teams they work with. I'm sorry,
but I felt the same way at the end of Westworld. I felt like Westworld was about 4.5, 5 hours of great filmmaking.
You know what didn't have that at all was Pretty Little Lies. Did you watch that?
No, my wife did not love that.
It was another thing that was hard to watch.
Right, there's rapey shit in that.
It's rapey and like I didn't watch. Like I came in 4 episodes in, and the last 3 or 4 episodes of that were riveting. The first 4 were. I didn't watch. So I don't know.
I can't. I've been listening to a bunch of podcasts.
Ooh,
okay.
Nobody listens to podcasts. It's a dead format at this point.
Pod Save America.
Yep.
Lovely podcast.
Those guys are amazing. Anna Marie Cox with Friends Like These.
Ooh, I haven't heard that yet.
It's all on the Crooked Media Network.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I had a lovely meal in Minneapolis. I now have a whole social life in Minneapolis. I saw Bill and Kevin from Riff Tracks, Anna Marie Cox, and Maggie Korth Baker.
Right. We talked about that.
We had brunch on the Sunday.
Did you go ice fishing while you were there?
No.
Have you ever been ice fishing?
I've never been ice fishing.
I've always wanted to go ice fishing.
Dig the hole, build the shack.
I think you drill the hole, but same thing. It seems like it would be fun. Yeah.
Drill the hole.
Any other podcasts? Those two?
Those are the two main ones I've been listening to. If you follow me on Twitter, which I'm assuming a lot of the listeners here probably do, I've been very political.
Look, this is a time to be very political.
I feel super debilitated by how weirdly unstable everything seems, and it feels like a really important and difficult moment. I listened to a long interview with Lawrence O'Donnell recently on one of the I don't even remember what it was. A long interview with Lawrence O'Donnell, who wrote about the 68 presidential election, which he maintains is far nuttier than our most recent election.
Is that the one that Hunter Thompson wrote about? The McGovern? That's the McGovern. That's the Nixon one. That's the first Nixon. Yeah.
Yeah. Fear and Loathing on the Campaign
Trail was 72.
No, that's 72.
But he wrote for Rolling Stone essays about that first election because he was on McGovern's bus, I think.
Yeah. I can't remember whose bus he was on, but yeah. And LOD talks a lot about that. I'm sorry, I called him LOD. That's he's good friends with Penn Jillette, and that's how Penn refers to him. I have no idea why that just busted out of me. I don't know.
Here we go.
The big mighty LOD.
It's
Anyway.
Yeah, if it was like I read a ton of those essays in college, and
Yeah, I read all
it
of
was
Thompson.
bananas.
Listening or reading about that,
And that made me feel
hearing
sorry.
about
That just made me feel
Right,
better
right,
about
right.
right now. Like I need to feed on times when our country felt this unstable to everybody. And I reminded somebody asked me a political question at a meet and greet the other night. I reminded people, like, if you're my age, you remember when the idea of nuclear annihilation was a comedy punchline that you didn't even need to explain.
Yeah.
You thought, oh, you're 15? That means when you're 18, you'll be dead. I don't know if I've already told this joke on the podcast, but in 1975, that joke was understood to mean we'll all have blown each other up within the next few years.
Yeah.
And so it gives me solace that we survived that we will survive this time.
Well, I mean, anytime you have an authoritarian nationalist movement that's gaining steam in your country, it is a thing to be concerned about.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be politically active at any point in your life, this is the time to start. Because if you don't start now, you might not have a chance later.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Christmas movies.
Scrooge. It's real good. You should watch it.
What a wide ranging.
It's a Wonderful Life still moves me to tears every single time I see it. I absolutely love that movie, and the electricity between Jimmy Stewart and Donna Kerr. It's Donna Kerr. Is incredible. I love that film.
I love Jimmy Stewart, and it's one of my least favorite Jimmy Stewart movies.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington's fantastic.
It's a fine film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I White Christmas is always popular. Like
With Bing Crosby?
With Bing Crosby.
Never seen it.
It's treacly and sweet. It's a perfect Christmas movie. He tap dances with Danny fucking Kaye as Chevy Chase so memorably remembers in Christmas Vacation, which is another fine Christmas movie that hasn't aged as well as one might have expected.
I think it's fine.
It's
fine.
fine.
Is a
the
totally
right word.
Yeah. Best way to describe
I saw
it.
Danny Kaye on stage when I was a kid.
Really?
Yep. My sixth grade class got to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art with several thousand kids from all over the New York tri-state area to go to the Metropolitan and watch a matinee performance called Danny Kaye's Look-In, where they did the first act of Hansel and Gretel and then left the curtain open while they changed the set. And the scenery moving infrastructure of the Met is so legendary and so astounding. It's a city block deep, the stage.
wow.
And literally the gingerbread house disappears into the stage. And Danny Kaye hosted the entire thing. And I'm proud to say the kids in New York were so loud they stopped the performance until we shut up.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a really shameful moment. We all got lectured when we got home.
I'm sure.
It wasn't our class, though.
Yeah, your kids, your friends were all good,
Really,
I'm sure.
It wasn't Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah,
no,
you guys were all okay.
It's good to have you back, Adam.
Yeah.
It's good that we don't have this lag barrier. I'm
The
not
lag
looking at
barrier was
empty,
really chapped
empty
my
spaces
hide.
to my
Yeah.
left and right,
Also,
imagining
you
you
kept
there.
on podcasting from here without turning the lights on in the cabinets, which really made me sad.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad both of you are fully constituted now in physical form.
Yeah, I feel like
Indeed.
I'm much taller than I usually am. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened over
You're
And
here.
sitting on the what are you sitting on, the bus chair? Yeah, the bus seat.
Yes. And this whole episode is just building up for next week's episode.
Which will be discussing. There's a movie.
Well, Justice League comes out this weekend,
Justice League.
so we're going to go see that.
Yeah, that's
There's
right.
something called The Last Jedi.
The Last
Jedi.
yeah.
Jedi.
Jeddah, I
Jetty.
think, is the name. It's from a planet from
I believe it's a
Rouge One.
Hetty.
Oh, it's a silent. It's a silent.
Yes.
It's
We
off
can-
J.
Anyway, yeah, we're all going to see it before the next podcast, and we will talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I've got potentially 3 screenings between now and when we record.
Wow.
Yeah, I am going to spend
Yeah.
this weekend at a wedding with some dear friends of mine, trying to avoid spoilers on the internet.
Just don't get on the internet.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to.
It's been hard. Did you see the tweet thread that Kumail Nanjiani posted this morning about his interaction with Ryan Johnson?
No.
Oh my God, it is the best thing. Basically, the upshot is that Kumail took a job interviewing people on the red carpet at Comic-Con in like 10 years ago, before Silicon Valley, before all of his other stuff, and he was introduced to Ryan Johnson. He interviewed Ryan Johnson on the Looper / Total Recall remake thing. He recognized him and he knew who he was, and he said, "Oh, I'm so excited to see how Total Recall turned out." Introduced him, like he started interviewing him as the director of Total Recall, the Total Recall remake. And Rian Johnson was cool about it and laughed and was like, "Oh no, that would be awesome, but that's not me. I made Looper, blah 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 blah." And they laughed about it. And he had, Kumail had a whole day of people being shitty to him on the red carpet, and he remembered Rian Johnson being kind despite a pretty big faux pas.
Yeah.
And then they laughed about it 10 years later after Silicon Valley or something like that. It's a great thread. I'll send you the links so you can post it.
I got to know Rian Johnson recently, and he's absolutely the humblest, most delightful, sweet-natured man I've met in a long time.
We tried to book him for the Talking Room during the first live
I remember
show.
that, and he responded quite like, "I wish I could do it."
Oh,
but
he
I
was
can't."
he was really into it, and then they announced that he was the director for Star Wars 8, and Lucasfilm was like,
less,
"Nope,
available."
pounds end." So yeah, here we are. But yeah,
We can't wait.
he's a delightful.
Oh, his girlfriend actually also hosts a wonderful podcast on film history called "You Must Remember This."
Oh, that's wow.
Yeah.
I love that podcast.
It's an amazing podcast. It's like 120 episodes deep about all of film history. I just finished listening to the Hollywood Blacklist. I think we talked about this already a little bit.
When you go to an old podcast, do you start at the beginning and work your way through? You just kind of cherry pick the episodes.
I
that look
cherry pick.
interesting?
Depends on the
I
type
totally
of type of
Yeah,
podcast.
Yeah.
And hey, our friend Tony Zhang, who made
Tony Zhu.
Zhu, sorry, who made
Every
frame
frame-
of painting,
Officially retired from making everything.
with his-
He had a co-creator
With his wife.
His wife.
with his wife. Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved the article that he wrote about making that show with his wife.
I mean, it was narrated. It was the script that was going to be for the last episode that they've never gotten around to doing. And
I found it really moving.
it was lovely. So
and it's a look, Tony's going to keep on producing content. He's doing it now for Criterion, and the world is better.
There's no
for
better
that.
place. Yeah.
No, and I've become really addicted to places like Nerdwriter and other that long form that I mentioned that breaks down like Fincher over 7.5 hours. But Tony's are just the best. And Every Frame of Painting, if you haven't watched it, it's a great 5 or 6 hours of your time to go through them all.
Yeah,
if that.
like
And read the Medium post, because it's not even just about his process; it's about creative process.
It's about their process and why they did it and why it was good. I think. I mean, I read that and I understood more about why it was good than watching 10 hours of those videos.
I also really appreciated his field testing, his failure testing of YouTube's algorithms for how to put clips of movies into your video essay without getting the DMCA takedown.
Yeah, I mean,
He really worked hard on making sure that would work, and he did a great job at it.
I mean, it's every film. Mikey Newman, who posts movies with Mikey, which is another great film appreciation series, it is constantly battling his videos going up for 3 hours and then disappearing.
It's the positive end of people working the algorithm as opposed to the people doing the child torture videos.
Yeah.
I find myself wondering, well, how that's all going to shake out. What the hell if there's a conspiracy or it's just AI gone crazy.
Which
the auto created weirdly creepy stuff that seems to be for children until Spider-Man and the Super Friends all shoot each other with guns.
I think a lot of that is intentionally made and manufactured in content mills.
Yeah, that's really creepy and strange.
It's Black
makes me
Mirror.
very sad for humanity.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 21st century, Adam.
Hey, it's time for HQ trivia.
Yeah. See you guys next time. Have a lovely show. Tell Scott.
Enjoy whatever movies come out this weekend, and
Yes.
we'll see you guys. Anything up on the site that we should
We're
over?
actually putting up a lot of our bits from our live show on the site this week. So if you were not there for the Castro Theater performance in late October, you can watch some select segments on our channel.
It was a really good show this year, guys. I don't
we
think
really
I've seen
enjoyed
it
it.
since
Really
then, but
fun.
it was nice.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this week's episode. Before we go, I want to thank the last sponsor of this week's episode, and that is Casper. With 3 mattress models, the original Casper, the Wave, and the Essential, Casper mattresses are perfectly designed to soothe and cradle your natural geometry. Not to mention, the breathable design helps you sleep cool and regulates your body temperature throughout the night. And it's delivered right to your door in a small how do they do that size box with free shipping and returns in the US and Canada. But the best part is that you can be sure your purchase with Casper is risk-free with 100 nights sleep on trial. That's over 3 months. After all, you spent a third of your life sleeping, so you should be comfortable while doing it. Now, start sleeping ahead of the curve with Casper. Get $50 toward any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/untitled and using Untitled at checkout. That's casper.com/untitled with the offer code untitled for $50 off your mattress purchase. Terms and conditions apply, and we will see you next week.